That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode 175 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four stupendous friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. My name is Adam and I am full in my heart because three of my greatest friends are back with me. Sam is here.
Are we the friends?
Yes, John is here.
Hey guys.
And Brett is back in business, baby.
Hello.
Hello, Brett. Thank you for coming on. I'm so sorry you couldn't make the last podcast, but the true question is, have you managed to watch all 7 hours of WrestleMania in total?
Yes,
Oh,
I have.
I don't sound too excited.
Can we have your thoughts on every match on the card of night one in 1 minute? No, what do you think of night one? Let's get a little summary. What was our average score in the end?
It was like 8 or something.
Yeah.
8.167.
Pretty high.
Overall, I was pretty surprised at how much I enjoyed night one.
Yeah, it's good.
There were
Same.
matches that were way better than they had any right to be. Mainly talking
Happy
about Stone Cold
Oh, okay.
versus Kevin Owens. That was awesome. And
Yeah.
there's no way in hell it should be that awesome. But Kevin Owens sold
Yeah.
for Stone Cold. Like, he made him look $1 million with every clothesline and stuff. He just went flying. It was awesome.
Going to be
Obviously,
talking a lot about clotheslines in this podcast, I remember.
match of the weekend was Becky and Bianca.
Oh,
Definitely.
easily.
Absolutely
Nice.
stellar. And I mean, yeah, Happy Corbin was all right.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's,
seemed like
a
that's the
happy camper.
most positive thing you've ever said about him, so
Yeah.
we'll take that.
Like the look. There was stuff that was not bad, but it was easily forgettable, like the Mysterios versus the Miz and Logan.
I think
Yeah.
maybe my biggest question for you, Brett, is that you were quite an outspoken fan of Ronda Rousey in her first run.
Yeah.
And how did you feel about Charlotte Ronda in this kind of matchup?
I didn't love it, to be honest. I didn't. It was in no way a bad match, but I was not. It should. I thought with those two, it should be absolutely stellar. But yeah, did not love it. But I did, however, love Cody versus Seth.
Oh,
Me
really?
too.
Well,
That was
I
my
just
match
thought
of the night.
it wasn't as good as Cody's big matches in AEW recently, but it was solid. And I thought it was just real, proper, old school wrestling all the way through. Nice build up, great finish.
Fair.
Perfect summary. I love it. Cool. I mean, I was going to chip in on some of those things, but no, I think you've just done that perfectly, and we should move on to night two, because that's what we're here for after all. Of course, the last podcast was obviously our night one review, which came out on Wednesday, and you're getting the night two review the day after we put in the hours. We're almost like full time. I think it's equivalent. Like, we're going to be as jaded as some of the wrestlers over WrestleMania weekend. The amount of effort we're putting into this.
Some would say
Would you
we were
say?
already quite jaded.
Yeah, some would, most would. So this is episode 175. We're going to talk about night two, Sunday, and we're going to do it after this.
Look at this impact here in the hardest part of the ring.
Yeah, we're on the road to 200 now. 175.
No,
On
it's
the road.
fast approaching.
We're on the road to 200. We've got a big 200 sign up in each of our respective offices that we point at before we turn off the light at night. WrestleMania 2022, night 2/Sunday, WrestleMania 38, was held once again at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas, with an attendance this time of 78,453. I noticed just before that the attendance I gave yesterday was not the same as the one on
So-
Wikipedia, but basically I think there were about 1,000 more people on Sunday.
This was weird, right? Because, like, even when they announced the attendance, what the guy said and what the graphic that came up on screen were two completely different
Yeah.
numbers.
The
What's
graphic
going
was
on
like
there?
77,000, wasn't it?
I don't get it. Like, they make it up. Just make it up completely. Just like, do you know what, guys? It was 84,000. Just flat. Can't believe it.
I mean, Wikipedia does have the classic disputed in brackets after the numbers, so
Tony Khan on Wikipedia.
a combined attendance of 156,000. I mean, whatever it was, there are a shitload of people there, And it still shows that WWE and WrestleMania in particular has a fucking massive draw. 2 days to get that many people there.
Yeah, that's like 2
Amazing.
consecutive days to get that many people in a stadium is phenomenal.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, so the comms team was the same as before, wasn't it? We don't get any sort of special guest commentators or old school classic people coming back, which we've seen over the years, but that's okay. We did get commentators heavily involved because we had Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, Jimmy Smith, Corey Graves, and Byron Saxton.
No good old JR for any Stone Cold stuff though.
Well, no Jerry, no JBL,
No Booker T.
No Booker T.
JBL.
Yeah, I think we're all fine with that, to be honest. So we did it yesterday. Yeah, we'll say yesterday because in Podland it was yesterday. We had a quick look before we got into it on how our previous scores have shaped up for night 1. So night 2 in the past. Sam, how's it looked?
Night 2 2020 6.75.
Ouch.
Oh dear.
Night 2 2021 clean 8.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Just a straight 8.
And that's because we had Brock, Daniel Bryan, and Edge in that amazing main event. I can't remember anything else, but there must have been some other good stuff. The card, John, hit us with it. Was there another pre-show?
I don't know. I think there was, but no wrestling on it.
Yeah, sounds about right.
The main card was RK Bro versus Alpha Academy versus Street Profits for the tag team titles. Then we had Omos versus Lashley in a match. And then we had Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville in whatever that was. And then we had Sasha and Naomi versus Liv and Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler and Natalya. Of course, it's Natalya. She has to be in WrestleMania. Versus Selena Vega and Carmella for the women's tag titles. Their annual outing. Then we had Edge versus AJ Styles. Then we had the New Day versus... Are they called the Night Fight? Fighting Night?
Oh, I thought they were called like the Fight Club or something. I don't know.
Anyway, Sheamus and Rich
Peaky
Holland.
Blinders.
Peaky Blinders, yeah.
Then we had Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee.
Sorry, John, I just want to pause you there. Who were Sheamus and Ridge Holland accompanied by?
Oh, this new guy called Butch.
Butch. Butch seems like a spark plug.
Yeah, feisty.
Up and comer he is.
So then we had Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee. And then finally, the main event of WrestleMania Night 2, or Sunday, whatever you prefer, was Roman Reigns
Pat
versus
McAfee versus Vince.
versus Brock Lesnar
Spoilers.
in the unification match for the WWE Heavyweight Champion and WWE Universal Championship.
Lovely. We picked out some key matches as usual, and then we'll do best of the rest, worst of the rest. And a star performer will be picked before giving the score a grade and seeing how it compares to yesterday and previous years. It's going to be an interesting one, this. It's a bit more of a mixed bag, I think, we'll all agree in the end. But the key matches we're going to discuss are Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville, then Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory, and Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. And even looking at that list of key matches compared to yesterday's tells quite the story. But yeah, let's kick things off by talking about Sami Zayn versus Jackass's Johnny Knoxville and friends. Sam, what did you make of this?
I like this match. This is a stupid match and I really liked it. So I think kind of what I loved about this, which I cannot believe I'm saying, is I think Michael Cole had the best time he's ever had in his entire life watching this match. He
He
was
had a very good night generally, Michael Cole.
screaming and losing his voice at what I can only assume is the first time he's ever seen Jackass in any capacity.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And it must have just absolutely blown his mind because it was like a child on Christmas morning just laughing at all of the comedic slapstick stuff. And the whole match itself just raises so many interesting questions. Like, WWE is squarely aimed at a PG market.
Yep.
And then here's the Jackass guys who are kind of doing a bit of a promo tour of Jackass Forever, which is very much not aimed at a PG market. And it's kind of like, okay, so you've got this kind of weird crossover in between where it's like Jackass Light or whatever. And so the first thing you do is you introduce Chris Pontius as Party Boy.
With his bum out.
With his bum out. And doing his old Tai Chi impression. It's just...
I was almost worried that he wasn't going to get his bum out because he came out and he was for quite a long time in his tracksuit trousers and t-shirt, and I was like, oh, is he doing this because it's a PG audience and he doesn't actually get his,
We want bum.
Yeah.
We want bum.
get his thong out?
Legitimately, I actually really like this match, and I kind of wish there was more Jackass in it, because it was just kind of like, I don't know, I've got a slight soft spot for it. I liked seeing Pontius, I liked seeing Wee Man. I almost wanted Steve-O and Preston Lacey and Dave England to all turn up and do something, and it was a stupid match, and I think that's fine. I think stupid and wrestling go hand in hand sometimes, and this match leaned into how stupid it was, even with the finish of the mousetrap not actually working, which just made it even better.
Their maid props weren't brilliant, were they?
No. That's not to take away from some of the bumps as well. That jump from the top rope through the table covered in mousetraps, that was hardcore.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it, Brett?
Yeah, I did. It wasn't what I was expecting. Like, it was what I was expecting, but it wasn't, because I sort of was hoping that it was going to be Sami Zayn basically putting Johnny Knoxville through a whole bunch of Jackass stunts.
Right.
Like, because that's the funny thing, isn't it? Like, it's seeing Johnny Knoxville hurt himself.
Yeah.
Like, and his reaction to hurting himself. That's what's super funny. So I was a bit disappointed that it was basically Sami Zayn taking most of the bumps. But it was a lot of fun. And I think there's, like, maybe 2 wrestlers on the roster that would make that work, and it's Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn, because I think both of those 2 would get the fun, not be put out by taking the L, not get put out by taking all those bumps. They'd be like up for it and give all they have to it, which Sami did, which was made it fun for sure.
I really do love Sami Zayn a lot.
But the Wee Man slam,
that was cool.
Yeah,
it
was really good.
How did he manage that? That was impressive.
I was expecting him to like just collapse under Sami when he sort of like jumped on him, but no, he held it, dropped it. Awesome.
Just, there was a lot to like. This match was far better than it had any right to be, is what I would say could be the tagline of a lot of WrestleMania stuff. But this one in particular, I don't know, I went in with zero expectation, and I did have a smile across my face, and that's a victory. That's a good win. John.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to be this guy on this pod. Not for me, this.
None of it?
I like the big hand bit.
I like the big hand bit
That was
purely
funny.
because of the Mark Henry.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't even connect those 2 dots, Brett. That's amazing.
I thought you had. I thought that's
No.
why you liked it. Are we in a parallel universe now then?
Yeah, it was too zany for me.
Too Sami Zayn-y.
Yeah, and like even the pin, like his shoulders weren't on the mat.
Yeah, it was awful. It was really bad.
The ending was a bit shit. But considering how many elements there were, like how many different aspects there were to the match, they actually most of them worked.
Yeah,
didn't they? They didn't botch, like the bowling ball bit. It was like, wow, I don't see how you can fake that unless it's like a light bowling ball, a fake
The
ball.
whole thing reminded me of Celebrity Deathmatch.
Yeah,
a little bit.
And I tell you who did love it. The crowd were fucking loving it. That you could hear audible laughter, and the crowd were really loud and into it and up for Johnny winning.
What did you think, Adam?
Yeah, I felt sort of the same as you. There is a place for this kind of wrestling, isn't there? Like when we've got to live shows and you have the zany, stupid, the comedy wrestlers, like people like, people like Trent Seven and
Session
who else? Yeah, like who are really good at leaning into this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and you get all the stupid props. It's more hard when you get genuine weapons and they're trying to make it look real. If you get silly stuff like this, then it was like stupid wrestling done really, really well.
Yeah, it breaks up the show, which WrestleMania doesn't usually do, or WWE don't usually do. They don't like a comedy match to give you a bit of variety.
I really do think that kind of Michael Cole absolutely losing his shit over this just really made this for me. I usually can't stand Michael Cole, but I think it gave me the impression of someone who was watching Monty Python for the first time ever, just finding it so much funnier than perhaps it actually was, and everyone being a little bit like, You're right there, Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, that was a fun way to start this episode anyway. Because actually, I was going to say that was a nice break, but it came in between Omos and Bobby Lashley and then the Women's Tag Team Championship. So it's not like it was, had like an incredible match just before or just after. But anyway, the next match we're going to talk about is an interesting one when it comes to hardest part of the ring, because we all have had at least strong feelings about one of these contenders. Pat McAfee, the commentator, former NFL star, got his moment at WrestleMania against the prodigy of Mr. McMahon, Austin Theory. John, should I read out the text that we got from you?
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, come on, do it. Tell us what you said.
Match was absolutely wild. And it kind of escalated. It started off pretty wild, and then got very wild, and then got ultra wild, like extreme attitude vibes wild.
But the message that you sent to us was, I might be a Pat McAfee guy now.
Oh yeah, right. I was on the last pod where you said, Pip said there's a video package that will make you like him.
Yeah,
that video package did do a good job of making me like him.
Yeah, and actually the match as well. Good. And some of the stuff he was doing after the following up stuff. Yeah, I think I might be turning a bit of a corner.
I'm going to stick with what I said on the last podcast. I think Pat McAfee is a fantastic wrestler. I think he would make a really good addition to the card.
He did some really good stuff in this.
He's really athletically talented.
Yeah,
if you can leap, from the mat to the top turnbuckle, you're athletic.
Yeah, you're all set.
He's obviously an ex-pro athlete. He's clearly been the video package, I think, gives away that he's been training for years as well. So I can see why they have him on comms, as well. But it's funny that they aren't leaning into, maybe it's scheduling or something. I don't know, because I don't know how much he appears.
He's passionate and he's athletic, which just reminds me of when Ronda Rousey first debuted. He obviously loves wrestling.
Yeah.
And he has the ability to actually do more than just like a kind of, I was going to say like a Bad Bunny, but Bad Bunny was also an amazing celebrity wrestler, so what do I know?
It's almost like people like him, maybe not Ronda, but with Pat, he's going to excel at the big spot straight away because he's an athlete. It's the glue and the more technical sort of, perhaps less interesting stuff.
Legitimately, that can be
takes
learned.
Time. Oh no, yeah, totally, and I agree. That's why I'm saying, I think they can look great straight away, but they do need that time to get the fundamentals down.
But he's an athlete, and he's a fan, and he's got first-hand experience of sitting there week in, week out, watching wrestlers and watching how they work, and doing stuff to the hard cam and making sure there's time for a break. He's got all the ingredients to be able to succeed.
Well, he was in that War Games match, wasn't he, in NXT?
Yeah.
The thing is that watching Pat McAfee wrestle reminds me of when The Miz first debuted and everyone hated him because The Miz came from reality TV doing The Real World, and he was this cocky, arrogant kid who just wanted to be a wrestler and stuff, and he, whether you like The Miz or hate The Miz, he's put the time in.
Everyone loves Pat McAfee. It's just us that hated him. Other people I speak to, they're like, "What do you mean? He's great!" And the crowd fucking loved him. His white stripes entrance, them all singing along.
I tell you what, actually, putting the white stripes on an entrance is a stroke of genius.
Fair play for them paying the licensing fee as well. That's so annoying.
It's John become a ventriloquist.
The amazing thing here is that John's camera has frozen whilst he's drinking a glass of water.
Oh, really?
It's just like he's a ventriloquist dummy, the ventriloquist. That is absolutely amazing. So whilst John, I don't know, turns his camera off and on again, otherwise it looks like he's trying to advertise some sort of mineral water, we will carry on. But Sam, do you feel more? I guess what you said was you prefer him in the ring, and now we've seen him in the ring. But he's got it. He's kind of got it all in a way.
I definitely do feel a little bit more sympathy, and I do like Pat McAfee more than how I started liking him. So that is a net positive. The first 11 minutes of night one, when he's jumping up on the table, dancing to Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boog's entrance, my God,
Yeah.
I just wanted to turn the whole thing off. But
Me too.
by the end of
Yeah.
hour 7, where it's like, oh man, he just put on a really good match, then had a really good kind of like screw over moment with McMahon, and it was just
I don't mind the fact that the guy's like super excitable.
maybe.
You know, like he's like just totally OTT, happy to be there, loving every moment. So I was like okay with that. I mean, yeah, that match being some weird advertisement made it odd.
Yeah.
So I can see the bad vibes towards that, but I just wonder, like, you know, I'm not up to date with week in week out wrestling, so I don't know if he is wrestling more, why he isn't, if he's not.
No.
Not at all. No, he's just been on comms.
Guys,
Like, why?
guys.
Go on, John.
We are spending so long talking about such a small part of this amazing segment. We need to
It feels like
talk about the good
feels
stuff.
like there's a lot of narrative around Pat McAfee with this podcast, though. This is like an arc.
yeah,
you know?
no, I
and I
feel
just
like
think let's do another 10 minutes, Sam. Back.
it's fair to say that Pat McAfee has won us over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing is, and I've said, he is really good at comms. He's just been quite annoying. Like he comes in and he comes up with these little phrases, and he's always hitting the spots and the catchphrases and getting the moves right, and he comes up with some cool stuff. He did something during that. We are going to move on, John. We are going to get to talk about your hero.
I need to talk about it, guys.
Yeah, John is wriggling in his seat.
During the Sami Zayn Johnny Knoxville match, during the bowling ball thing, McAfee, when he was commentating, shouted 7-10 split. Who do you think you are? I am. After that meme with that crazy bowler guy who just chants to the crowd, says, "Who do you think you are? I am." Sam doesn't know what that is, but if you know what that is, that was, oh God, I'm gonna have to send that to you. That was a really he comes out with stuff that is very different to a
His
lot of
finger
the very
is
vanilla,
very on the pulse.
the
He's
vanilla
really,
commentators.
he's exactly what WWE need.
So, John, his protege lost, and Mr. McMahon takes off his jacket. How did you feel?
So first, when he first gestured to take off his jacket, and you saw the sweat patches,
Oh, weird sweat patch. Yeah,
Yeah.
like gone up to the top of his shoulder.
I thought, oh, that's a bit gross. But there's no way in my mind I thought,
No way in hell.
no way in hell. And then when he took off his shirt to reveal the black vest,
Yeah.
like I think I popped harder for when Stone Cold turned up in night one. Like it was,
Yeah. They got the classic outfits on. You knew there was going to be some wrestling.
and so then he sort of has a fight with McAfee. I mean,
Can we talk about his arms?
I think they look good. Great. 76-year-old.
But yeah, I was going to say a bit loose, but of course he's 76.
His arms look better than my arms.
The shame he's obviously skipped leg day because the guy struggled to stay on his feet.
Again, 76 years old.
Yeah, no, I know, but like
He must be in so much pain.
he
Oh my
looked,
God, this
yeah,
must
he
be
just
agony.
like, oh, I'm sure Dick Van Dyke doesn't move like that, and he's even older.
Well,
I mean, Brett, we had a big conversation in the first pod where Sam was just talking about how he hates these callbacks. Not hate, but like he's not a big fan of calling back to the Attitude Era and all this kind of stuff. And as I saw Vince McMahon in the ring, and then when Stone Cold came out, I was like, surely Sam can't be hating on this.
No, I don't hate on this because this is a little bit different to Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold, where it's like Kevin Owens did a good job against Stone Cold, but Kevin Owens also could have been doing a good job against anyone and perhaps progressing his own story a little bit further. You have a commentator, you have a character who is a protege to Mr. McMahon, you have Mr. McMahon, you have Stone Cold. All of those elements together, I think, yeah, it's fine. It ties together. It doesn't hurt anyone's kind of larger career trajectory, in my opinion.
I guess so, but if you look at night one and night two, there's wrestlers that probably didn't deserve space on WrestleMania at all, and if there was people that need elevating, there was space there.
Yeah.
how good was it when the glass smashed, though? Come on, how good was that moment?
I'm just fucked off that I knew about it because of that message from one of our listeners. Was it Adam from the when he said about the Vince
The Vince moment was a
Austin
little bit
thing.
scary, yeah.
And then I googled that, thinking I must have missed something on night one, and then I saw it happened on night two. I would have loved to have known.
An
I would have
amazing
loved to have
moment.
heard that.
Unbelievable.
No beef. Never
Absolutely
any beef between
unbelievable. And then obviously Stone Cold turns up, stuns Austin Theory, and Austin Theory does maybe the best selling of a stunner.
Like The Rock.
Yeah,
he was
Better,
It was awesome.
I reckon. like incredible.
It was awesome. That was the best thing Austin Theory did.
Oh, I think he was brilliant. I thought he was really good in that.
Did a
match.
good job.
Yeah.
Austin Theory has been fantastic in his role recently and is doing a good job.
He probably is, and he was very dislikable. But I didn't like love anything he particularly did in that match. I enjoyed spots from Pat McAfee more. I know obviously he needs Theory to do his part for it to work, but I did think that selling was my highlight of Theory's
so good. So
Same,
good.
probably.
Presence.
Then obviously Stone Cold shares a beer with Vince. Funny with Vince sort of.
You know what's coming.
Yeah, that tasting, that was weird. Like, has
Oh,
he got
that's
any
funny.
control of his lips? Like, it seemed like it was like,
Starts dribbling.
it was so gross.
And then what happens is the worst stun spot of all time, where Vince just misses it completely, goes against the rope. Austin tries to do it again.
Austin's like, come on, I'm ready.
He literally has to manhandle him into place, do it again, and then Vince just falls like a sack of shit. Like
He does.
I think he probably
awful.
broke both his knees at that moment.
76 years
Yeah,
old.
there's not much explosivity left.
Stone
in those
Cold is
76-year-old
laughing
legs.
his
Crumpled.
arse off the whole way.
Which made me
through.
happy.
Yeah, it was
Because
so
I was like,
good.
That's a bit shit that he's botched that. Is that annoying for Stone Cold? No, it's hilarious.
Oh, he loved
And it
so
is
much.
hilarious because
It's
Vince
so
will be
funny.
watching that, sat in his office, watching that back, going, fuck's sake, I'm going to have to come back next year and nail it.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter how much time passes. You cannot go wrong with Stone Cold dropping
I
Vince
know.
McMahon. Like, that is always going
Yeah.
to be a winning
Can you believe
formula.
this is what we've witnessed?
My God,
You'd never have predicted that.
amazing. It
No.
was amazing. This whole thing
You never would
is
have
easily
predicted
my
that.
highlight of WrestleMania this weekend. Unbelievable.
I never would have predicted. Last week, if you said, give me your WrestleMania predictions,
Right,
I wouldn't have
right,
predicted
okay. I was
the
going to say,
stunner.
like, the moment Vince got into the ring...
Yes,
was-
but I wouldn't have predicted Vince being in a ring and actually having a match,
So-
because even when he got in, I thought, well, he's not going to have a match. Can we just say that match was a bit long,
Yeah,
and a bit ploddy, and a bit, and I was like, Vince is looking a bit limited here.
Bit pointless.
Pat did great selling for the clotheslines that Vince.
I don't know how he
barely
did
connected,
that because they were
but
awful. And Vince
football
won by kicking
bit-
American football into his gut.
Yeah, which I'm so glad it, because I was like, oh god, he's going to miss it. He's going to miss kick it or something.
To be fair, Vince was taunting, kicking the ball into the crowd, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
That was good.
Something we didn't talk about was that Vince got up to celebrate with Austin Aries after he had his win.
Austin Theory.
Austin Aries. I did that in the running order before. Austin Theory's music hit, and Vince reacts. Did you see that?
Yeah, I
he
did see
reacted
that.
as if
Yeah.
it was Stone
Yeah,
Cold's
he was
music,
a bit-
and then he
Oh,
bit
realised.
jumpy.
Yeah, so he botched a
I
fair
didn't
few
notice
things.
that.
I enjoyed that spot a million times more because it was botched so badly.
Yeah,
Like, that just made it more entertaining for me because it was Vince,
That's
you know.
fine. I quite like that Stone Cold then dropped Pat. Just
Yeah, that was great
Yeah.
as well.
You can't control.
I'm
Stone
imagining
Cold.
all sorts of meetings in future with wrestlers getting called into Vince's office and him being like, right, I saw what you did. I was watching your match earlier, and when you did this or that, and every member of the wrestler can be like, Vince, I watched WrestleMania. You cannot give me shit. You botched.
And
But
you
yeah,
know what?
sorry.
It was quite nice because obviously Vince is an incredibly divisive figure. He does a lot of nasty stuff. But just to see him still doing this at 77 years old, 76 years old.
Reverse it.
Yeah, it's impressive. Like, he still loves this so much. He loves this company
Yeah.
and WrestleMania in particular.
And then, sorry, Sam, you said about Pat taking the stunner was great. And then Pat, when the camera cut to him and he was lying on the floor,
with the
slowly
booze.
pouring the beer into his mouth, I was like, oh no, I think I really like Pat McAfee.
This
The
was
showman.
so good. This was my match of the night. It was outrageous.
Which one? The Vince Pat one?
Just this whole segment.
The whole section.
The whole bit. It made me so happy.
All right, so final match we're going to talk about of our three key matches is, of course, the main event. There's not really a chance we're not going to talk about the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. Well, first off, Brett, you're going to kick off on this, but just generally, do you think that's true? I mean, there is something to be said that it could be.
No.
Title unification. They've
Rock
never
Austin,
done that.
come on.
My
I just wanted
mind
to talk about it.
my mind said there must be bigger matches, but I can't remember them without like googling because
I mean, Hulk Andre
Hulk Hogan, The Rock.
No, but yeah, but
didn't
no,
main event
but
though, did it?
Did it not?
No.
what I'm talking about is the fact that it is literally the two title holders, the two by far and away the biggest stars in the company right now, and it's a title unification, which, as they said, they hadn't done. So I don't think it is, but I don't think it's a million miles off. I mean, the fact that they've called it that, like when they called the Edge Randy match the greatest match of all
We've
time.
seen this match at WrestleMania. I thought, like, what, 4 times?
Yeah, I know.
It's like conservative mathematics. Like, it can be true, but it's...
Okay, just ignore... just forget I asked, guys, for fuck's sake. Brett, what did you think? What did you think of the match? Were you excited?
No, it's not the
Okay.
biggest match of all time.
Come on, Brett. Give us a summary. You're the summary king on this pod. What did you think of the match? Were you up for it? Did it deliver?
If you will not be surprised, I was not up for it. I'm still not on Team Roman. And I was never really on Team Brock either, to be honest. So, like, I understand these two guys are huge, and they are huge in WWE. So, you know, I loved Brock doing his own announcement.
Yes,
that was a sweet moment.
Finally, some character and personality.
I feel like this is the most Brock has ever enjoyed wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, has he only just discovered this ability? Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Why did he have a mouthpiece all this time? He could have been having fun. The match was exactly as I expected it to be, though.
Wasn't it?
And I think maybe that's more on Brock's part rather than Roman's, because Brock matches follow this formula. You know, finisher, big move,
Suplex
repeat
City,
it, repeat it.
Oh,
and
there's always that barricade bit as well, isn't there?
Yes.
There's always that bit.
So, yeah, I mean, Roman's definitely, I think Roman's growing in character. Like, it's starting to be more fluid to me, his character, whereas it seemed like he was really pushing it before. It didn't seem natural, but now it's...
Disagree.
I know you all did, because we said this, you know, many times before.
I know.
But I do think it's coming more natural now. But I just did not like this match. I'm sorry. And it's so for me, it was like, it's not the biggest match, and I know they were sort of putting Roman over as the biggest. Like, there was some stat making him, like, you know, one of the best champions of all time, and I was just like, hell no. Not even close.
Oh, dearie me. I reckon Sam's got a lot loaded in the barrel right now, ready to go. So, John, what did you make, John? What did you make of it?
I completely agree with Brett. I like this match, but it's everything we've seen before. Even like Brock selling the ribs. Like, every time he sells the ribs, it's like, oh, he's going to lose, because that's what the Goldberg thing was.
Oh, and the ending. Oh, I mean, it just...
Apparently they're...
That was the major problem for me. Yeah,
the engine felt really flat, but there are stories going around that Roman legitimately hurt his arm during that Gamora lot bit, so they cut it short. It did look
like he did, didn't he? Because he was holding it in a weird way even when he did the pin.
Right.
I thought it was great selling, because when he lifted up both belts and he lifted up one slowly, I was like, what a pro.
Yeah, I thought that was too.
Interesting. Okay, Sam?
I can now not remember the last time I watched a good Roman Reigns match. I am really done with Roman's title.
Right, I'm going to log off. This.
I'm sorry, but like
I thought I was going to be pissing you guys off, because I was like, right, the problem they're all going to hate me.
At this point in time is that Roman had some really good matches. He had some interesting feuds where he was basically just squashing everyone, but he had a good feud with Daniel Bryan, he had a good feud with Cesaro, he had a good feud with Seth Rollins, and then it's all just become incredibly monotonous, and it's the same thing, and it is, as you guys said, spear, Superman punch, suplex, that fucking timekeeper's area spot, and we're done. And this time it didn't even have a finish on it, it was just done. It was there was nothing I liked about this match. I suppose I liked Brock Lesnar doing his entrance, but other than that, it was, I think this is among some of the worst in his current title reign I've seen of Roman Reigns, and I feel like, for me, the fire has gone out and it is just completely stale, and I don't care one bit.
I feel like they don't do like the most basic like match structure with matches like this. So there is no build. There is no like Cody and Seth. You know, like they worked that match like probably by the book to the numbers, but it built and it invested you in it, and it had like, you know, multiple crossroads and stuff. Like there was stuff to invest you into it, whereas like
the thing is,
this
like,
didn't have that.
If you look back at last year's WrestleMania, like, love or hate Roman Reigns, Edge, Daniel Bryan, Roman all bring something different to the table, and then the finish being that Roman smashes both of these guys with a chair and then piles their bodies on top of each other and pins them, and it's like, wow, what a dominant finish. Like, you may not like Roman, but that is a statement of a finish.
Yep.
This is just felt like a holding pattern for a Saudi Arabia match or something. It was just really rubbish.
SummerSlam 2021. Oh my God, SummerSlam 2021. Oh yeah, because it's not the summer yet in 2022. SummerSlam 2021, Roman Reigns versus John Cena. That was the last. I've just scrolled back. I was like, oh, what is he talking about? We've had loads of good ones. First one I got to was Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at the Rumble, which I gave a 3.5. So yeah, fine. Then the last one before that was Big E champion versus champion match against Roman, which I gave a 3.
That was the biggest match in all history, yeah.
But Roman Reigns at SummerSlam against John Cena, that was a good match. Basically, I thought I'd be able to prove you wrong, and I have not been able to.
Can I add a potential silver lining to this result?
I mean, I'm going to say some positive stuff about this in a minute, but go ahead.
Oh, it's more the facts that because Brock hasn't won the titles, like I'm choosing to see the positive here, that whoever's going to beat Roman is going to get a super rub, and it's not going to be Brock.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, that is something I am excited about, is who is the next major kind of person to fight, and I have a horrible feeling
Cody.
It's Edge.
Cody Rhodes. Come on.
It could be. It feels too soon, though.
I just got a feeling that Vince is just going to bury Cody. Like, Vince isn't the kind of person to not forget that shit. Like, he'll bring you back into the fold. He'll make you think that, you know, things are going to be all right, and then you get relegated to jobber.
And then you turn up and you've got
you're in NXT.
A one-piece suit and a Stardust makeup, and you're told, go and do a cartwheel, my dancing monkey.
Cody Rhodes turned up as AEW Cody Rhodes. They didn't say you can't use your music, you can't wear those clothes, you can't be called this, can't be... I think that's huge. Like, that is not something that WWE would usually ever do. They always be like, we didn't come up with that idea, so we're going to come up with our own idea for you.
I think Cody could be an awesome champ.
Yeah, they never really
in WWE, but
anyway,
don't see it.
Away from Cody. Sorry, John. Did you finish your?
Yeah, all finished. Sorry,
all finished. Good. All right, good. I just think that I love the majesty of the event. I love the fact that when Roman comes down with the Usos and Paul Heyman's so good at his job, and when he poses with the belt, like the way that they all look, and Heyman's standing there looking at the belt aloft. I love all that. I feel like a teenage girl at a I was about to say 3T concert, but that would be a terrible example, because I doubt 3T ever actually did a tour. Anyway, I lost it. A1. What other big like boy bands were there?
I don't know.
3T were Michael Jackson's nephews, Terrell, TJ, and Taj. They did that song. I would do anything for you.
I don't remember that.
I had that on cassette. Cardboard.
Cool.
How do you remember the
names?
names?
3T were, but apparently no. I don't think anyone who listened.
I remember that because it was a funny thing with my mates at that age, where we bought that on the cassette, and then we laughed at the fact that they were called Terrell, TJ, and Taj. I wasn't actually a massive fan. Couldn't think of a boy band. Fucked that whole bit up. Too busy thinking about Roman and how majestic he looked when he was coming down. But yeah, the funny thing is, the match was happening, and I was like, isn't this funny that this is a match that we have seen main events, so many events over the years, since doing the pod, before the pod. They even reference like they main evented WrestleMania 6 years ago or whatever it was. And yeah, the formula was pretty much the same. But I was like, wow, all it took, like, who would have thought that all these years later we have heel Roman and a face Brock?
Yeah.
And that completely changes it. And it makes me enjoy it. Like, we were booing those matches. The crowd were booing those matches in the past. And there's something to it now. They've both got so much more personality. Roman is so much more credible as a heel.
Yeah.
And I just could enjoy the match a lot more.
Roman is easily probably the most handsome WWE champion they've ever had.
Oh,
Don't know about the best.
That's a top
but
5 we need to do.
Maybe the
Probably
most
a
handsome
shout,
because,
yeah.
he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
I love this version of Brock as well. I like Brock, but this version of him, like Fun Time Hillbilly Brock, probably my favourite version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But weird with the botched spear where he, like, speared him in the kidneys. You see
In the
that
back,
bit? That
yeah.
was, in the back, like, and that was
The
that was
spear
strange.
that also seemed more like a bulldog but wasn't a bulldog. It was just weird.
But generally, I was kind of enjoying it because, again, the crowd were into it. The crowd hate Roman, and that always makes a big difference. But then that final spear really did come out of nowhere, and I didn't think there was a genuine injury. So at the time, it was like, oh, well, that is a shit ending.
Yep.
And it doesn't feel an ending worthy of lifting those 2 belts after it. But if he was genuinely injured, then fair
I
enough.
skipped back multiple times because I was like, I've missed something here.
Yeah,
That
It's
can't be
very
the end. I've missed something.
So strange because, like, obviously they catch Paul Heyman on microphone being like, "My tribal chief, please wake up." Oh, I need
it's so
you.
good.
That's a
And
really
it's
good
That's a
impression.
good impression. Yeah, I like
Whoa,
that.
dude. Kind of, you just need to chill, and we just need to have a match here. But yeah,
Okay, yeah,
It's
when you
good
give
that
it a
you
little
liked it.
Google, when you give a Roman Reigns injury Google, there's various things. Brock Lesnar caught checking on opponent during match. Gruesome images of Roman Reigns' injury sustained at WrestleMania. So, yeah, it's legit.
Well, he came out on Raw last night, apparently. Didn't mention anything about injury.
Because he was saying, though, in the match, wasn't he? He's like, oh, my shoulder's out, my
Yeah.
shoulder's out. But you just think,
Yeah.
that's not true. And he's probably thinking, Paul, my shoulder's out. And Paul's just playing the character. My tribal chief. Not as good an impression. Yeah, the photos do look a bit weird. His shoulder looks pretty
Yeah.
fucked up. Okay, well then maybe it could have gone on to a fucking great
Yeah,
ending.
maybe it's just been cut short. It's hard to tell, isn't it?
It is.
Shall we go on? Move on.
Let's move on. Okay, so that is the key matches. Best of the rest then. Let's give the returning Brett a shout. Any matches that you enjoyed? I mean, it's quite thin pickings, isn't it?
I'm going for it's not going to be a match.
Okay.
It's going to be as Sam put it, the little spark plug Butch. Like the match itself was complete
Really?
dross, but I thoroughly enjoyed Butch's like his
He plays the role well.
Jack Russell sort of wanting to nip at heels at everyone, and Sheamus constantly like picking him up and carrying him to the other side. And then both him and Rich Holland at the end, like trying to stop him from, laughing while holding him, trying to stop him from going after him. I thought, like, character-wise, I thought that was just brilliant and was just so much fun and was just, he had so much energy. I thought
I
sold me
bloody
on that.
love a heel
Brilliant.
Pete Dunne. So
yeah.
even if he's playing this stupid little Scrappy-Doo character for Sheamus, I'm all on board with it.
Yeah, it just seemed like they I don't know about Rich Holland, but like Sheamus and Pete just seemed like, there was good chemistry between them and, enjoying the moment. And it fit those characters that they're like portraying at the moment.
I'm pleased he got to WrestleMania, but I'm devastated that it wasn't as the Bruiserweight, which is just such
definitely.
a great
Yeah.
gimmick. But I guess it was just never going to happen. So
I don't know. I always loved the old Peaky Blinders with British
yeah.
style.
true.
That
It works for him.
vibe with Trent and
That match, what the actual fuck?
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
Well,
terrible.
worse than the rest.
It was
It
so
was.
short, and it was like the
I
worst
was-
match by far.
totally confused about how short it was. I was
Yeah.
like,
And this
why,
is the
why
New
is
Day.
this so short? Yeah, it's like the New Day. They're in the Big E singlets.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
And then they squash them.
and it's Sheamus and it, just like, what's going on here?
Very, very odd.
Weird
Apparently,
match.
as well, New Day have been losing to these guys on TV for weeks. So you thought maybe it would be the New Day's time to shine, but no. And weird seeing the Big E injury again. It's like I don't really.
I know.
Can't believe they show that video again. That was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seeing like because I remember reading or like seeing the news on Twitter and the video initially, but like seeing that again, just seeing him afterwards, you know, when he was just lying there and like terrified of moving anything, it just seemed like fucking hell.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Sam, worst of the rest?
Best of the rest.
Oh yeah, sorry guys. Because that match was so fucking shit.
No,
I thought we were doing worse.
It
than
was
the rest.
just one person's.
I have a legitimate best of the rest here. RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy was a bloody good match. A really good start to WrestleMania Sunday. And I know, like, we are always going to be a little bit, like, reserved on our thoughts with Riddle. So I'm not going to talk too much on that side of things. But what I am going to say is that, my God, I want a Montez Ford Chad Gable match like nothing else.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore Alpha Academy. Like, I think they've done a good job taking the best wrestler in WWE, full stop,
Otis.
Chad Gable,
Oh,
putting him with someone who gives a really good kind of account of himself in a tag team, who shouldn't be pushed as a singles wrestler because he's never going to make it. He's a comedy wrestler, but he's decent enough. You team him up with Chad Gable and this team. It's a strong team. It gives really good big man, small man vibes. Street Profits, half of them are amazing and the other half are completely passable.
oh, harsh.
I mean, it's just that Montez Ford is so good that
You're
Dawkins
right.
can't help but look
But
bad,
to me, it's like, do you know what? We got to see Montez Ford and Chad Gable lock up, and whenever they were in the ring, it looked amazing. And there was a lot of good spots in this match, and just a very enjoyable match.
Yeah,
Fun.
I agree.
Yeah, fun.
You look completely. Oh, I thought you were going to say you looked.
No. So I was looking at my notes like, God, what am I going to pick for best of the rest now?
I think if you were to look at the arc of like a graph of my love for Randy Orton, when we started this podcast, I couldn't give two shits, and I was like, just retire already. You're boring and you're disinterested. And then over the last few years, he's interested. He's enjoying it. There's been a couple of missteps, but I really love Randy Orton. It's mad. Randy Orton hot tag is a joy to see.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's really hard to dislike someone who does something for so long. Because it's like,
What, just generally in life?
Yeah.
I don't know.
in wrestling. No, I genuinely think
Putin, do you think, do you think...
in wrestling...
Okay.
Some gotcha journalism going on here.
In wrestling, if you stay around for 10, 15 years or so, keep on at it, it's like, you know, how we feel about The Miz or John Cena or like just generally...
We hate those
I
guys.
couldn't give two shits. I could give two shits about the Miz.
No, like in years gone by, though, we've also given The Miz
True,
like tens in drafts. Like,
True.
Yeah.
I think he's gone down, though. But
he
I
has
know he
gone
has.
down, but there are moments that
I still
these
like The
wrestlers
Miz.
hit. And like, love him or hate him, it's very difficult to be like, oh, well, you don't care about this if you do it for as long as you do.
I think he just needed to add a little tash. And
Oh my God, the tash!
Exactly.
How does he look so good in that tash? It's
why
outrageous.
are there not more, not silly tashes, but just solid, strong tashes in wrestlers? Like, you know, not like the big, massive handlebars or anything, but like, you know, just a
Rick
strong
Boogs?
Tom Selleck.
Has Rick Boots got a tash, or is it like a goatee?
Possibly. I just think it was it was just a good match. Like, there was a lovely RKO from Riddle off the top rope.
Yeah, that looked
There was a
good.
great RKO from Randy, obviously, onto Chad Gable, who
Chad Gable
fully
set
dived
that,
into it.
Yeah, set that RKO up
Yeah.
beautifully.
Yeah.
It just was perfect, because sometimes they get a bit clumsy, but that was picture perfect.
Without a doubt, Chad Gable is my favourite wrestler in WWE.
Yeah,
bar
I love
none.
Chad Gable.
Like, I really do think he is
Wow.
amazing.
He looks so solid now as well, doesn't he?
He does. I wish he could do more.
I like the fact that he's in a singlet again as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
but
cool.
Anyway, I just genuinely really enjoyed that match.
John, have you got a best of the rest?
So, Edge versus AJ, I liked it, and although
Yeah.
I don't know, like I really liked the fact that Edge used the shoulder breaker and how that played into the match with AJ selling it, and there's some really nice slick stuff and some cool near falls, but I don't think it really ever hit the heights I was expecting. And I thought Damian Priest turning up and just giving AJ the eyes was weird.
I know.
That ruined that match for me.
It did look great, but yeah, it did ruin it for me too. A little bit.
It was a good mess. It was a good wrestling match. I was watching.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a really good wrestling match. Like, these guys are obviously pros and have been doing it a long time, and they're all, two vets basically. But it was quite long, and in fact there are bits where it was really slow, and I was like, add a little bit more pace, and this could be a really good match. But yeah, shit ending.
I was the same.
Feel like Edge falls into my category of I don't want to see you wrestle anymore kind of Attitude Era style wrestler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I felt like this since he's come back, is that I loved Edge back in his prime. I really do, and I think it's sad that he had to cut it short. That said, I think ever since Edge has come back, I've just not been enamoured or into any of his matches. The only one I've enjoyed was the Roman Reigns one at WrestleMania, and even then it was a little bit like, I feel like Daniel Bryan did most of the work there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sort of, I'm going to say, I think probably not as bad, but like I haven't really seen much that I've like. It's been solid, like Adam was saying, but I've not loved AJ Styles matches recently either. Like I think he's probably collecting his paycheck before he retires. I think he's probably too hurt to do some of the amazing stuff he did before. But
yeah,
he's another one.
Was shit, was boring.
Yeah.
He's just been treading water, it feels.
There has been loads of stories about how he's got just horrific long-term injuries.
I mean, I would say, like, I am interested in Edge's new stable.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I think that seems
I'm
kind
not
of
interested in Damian Priest.
I
could not give two
like
shits
Priest.
about Damian Priest.
No, I'm on board with Damo.
What about you, Adam? Any best of the rest?
Well, I mean, it's something I thought we should mention. I quite liked it as a moment, but there's no other matches. But just that Triple H got his chance to come out at the start and really milk the adoration of the crowd. And then instead of doing like a big old speech and taking 20 minutes to do a promo like you think Triple H might do, he just does the welcome and then leaves his boots. I thought that was a nice touch because for him to be able to have to retire without having a proper go-away match, and his last match being probably some shit in Saudi Arabia or something like that, is a shame, because he's not fucking or like, he's not like Undertaker level in the sense he obviously is way past his peak, but I reckon he could have had a decent send-off in the ring. So it's a shame.
Love more than anything to believe that was his retirement.
Well, it is because it's his heart.
I know he said it is, and I know because of his heart, and I know he's left his boots in the ring.
Well, just believe it then.
Do you reckon they do the Christian Eriksen thing and just get that little machine in his chest?
It's like Taker at the end of his speech saying "Never say never."
Yeah, maybe.
I'm thinking like, say never, please,
that
just
really
say never.
Upset me, that did.
Speaking of Taker, can we move on to worst of the rest? 'Cause
yes, let's move on now.
Why is he getting a second Hall of Fame walkout?
Was that what that was? Because I started fast forwarding through it, thinking I'm so sick of the bloody.
Yeah, I thought it was
recaps.
a recap too, but
and
it
I
was
thought
not.
it was a recap, so I just fast forwarded through all of it.
Well, I thought it's for the crowd who weren't there night one, but I wondered generally how many people buy tickets for one night and not the other. It was probably quite a lot, probably maybe like even half or something. I don't know.
Like,
but
we've done that. Like when Riptide did their. Actually, we went to all of it, didn't we? Never mind.
Shit example.
Yeah, shit example. I just can't believe they did it again. It felt
weird.
I
can't believe that was actually a live thing. I thought that was a replay.
If anyone deserves it. I mean, should we
guess.
talk about the fact that his Hall of Fame speech was 50 minutes?
Was it really?
Yeah, I watched it.
Did you?
It was emotional.
No.
Him coming out because he got an amazing reaction and he was getting teary, and the crowd just kept on chanting and "You deserve it" and "Thank you, Taker" and all this stuff, and that was lovely. Then he started his speech. I was like, I really want to hear this, and then it just went on and on and on and on. And he thanked Shawn Michaels, he thanked Kane, he thanked Triple H, he thanked the Godfather, he thanked Vince, he thanked his kids, he thanked his wife, and it just went on.
Did he thank Giant Gonzalez?
No, but he did thank Paul Bearer. I mean, we're doing the undertaking, guys. I'd watch it, but I did skip the massive highlights package because I didn't want any spoilers for the undertaking.
Yeah,
so
no,
that's
I think
commitment.
kind of the very final episode of the Undertaking might just be his Hall of Fame entrance.
Yeah, and his speech will
But
dissect
we've still
that.
got another 12 or 13 years till we get to that, so don't worry.
Yeah, and another 12 or 13 Saudi matches with the Taker in. Okay, any other worst of the rest from you, Brett? There's one match.
I mean, we should. Well, there's two matches I could mention, but I'll go to the Oh no, well, someone else would probably say it. I'm going to say the women's tag match.
Oh, you were always against them getting this platform.
I just it was just so much going on that seemed all at the same time. I just can't remember any of it. I just wish they'd have just had a normal tag match and not try and fit, all their roster into a match.
I hate this match with a passion. I feel like the women's tag team titles at this point are like the black spot in Pirates or something.
Yeah.
You're on the verge of death or something. Like, it's so bad. Like,
it's not a prize, is it?
We berate WWE for throwing tag teams together, and the women's division is the absolute worst offender for this by a mile.
Yeah,
it's just awful.
It's
nothing.
What are you going to do in an industry where traditionally, women's tag teams aren't a thing? So there aren't any women's tag teams coming through the ranks.
You know what you do?
Or on
You
the
don't
indies.
fire the Iconics.
Yeah, but they were literally the only feasible team. But
great, and then
they are, but they weren't necessarily, because they had other people in NXT, which they have enough of a women's roster.
They've got tag belts in the NXT, haven't they?
They could have put some of the people that performed in this together.
True.
In NXT and kept them together, give them a team name, give them a gimmick and stick with it. But there's just all this, even when they did have it, they were still individuals as part of a faction that didn't really match, but let's put them together.
Somewhere out there is an alternate universe where it's like, you know what, Sasha Banks and Bayley versus the Iconics versus Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, all of these people who were in previous teams actually working together. And it's just like, no, because you can't commit to any of this. It's just awful.
Natalia and Shayna is just, oh god,
I hate Natalia
getting
so
them
much.
on the card, and I just feel like, remember watching Shayna at her peak on NXT.
Yeah.
Anyway, we shouldn't spend too much time raving on about the negative stuff, mostly because we're coming up to the hour mark, and there is obviously Omos versus Bobby Lashley, which was absolutely terrible.
I didn't hate that.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, I've become a Bobby Lashley guy. I never thought
pissed me off that MVP wasn't there.
I thought you were saying Omos. Have you seen what's happened on Raw?
Yeah.
MVP has turned, and he is now the mouthpiece for Omos.
That makes sense, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Does it really? Or,
yeah, it does, I think.
How hard is it to have long-term manager and wrestler relations? Like,
I could go into how I think they've already wasted Omos. Or Omos.
What, do you think he had a load of untapped talent that we've
No, I don't, but he's a big guy, and the only thing that they have is squash matches and win streaks to start with before they never put the belt on them, and then they move on because they don't have long careers.
Made me think
Braun
of Braun
Strowman. Exactly. It's the same thing. I think the Big Show's the only person to buck that, really.
Yeah.
And Omos isn't going to go on to thingy, and he's had this early match on WrestleMania and he's lost against someone, who obviously is very beefy but is still much smaller. So it's just like they've already wasted the one thing he had, which was size.
But Lashley's so beefy though, Brett.
I know.
And actually,
I
just wanted to point out that Braun Strowman has gone on to bigger and better things, because he's now running his entire own promotion with EC3, Control Your Narrative, which isn't just full of right-wing gun nuts. And the logo is very well designed. It's not totally all really badly aligned. But yeah, I'm really proud of what Braun's getting up to. Now I'm going to eat a Satsuma. Well, why am I doing this on a podcast? I just peeled it.
The event was a little bit too long, and none of the matches were very long at all. There's one match over 20 minutes. The rest of them were 10 minutes.
Shorter than night one though, so
that was good. That was good to see, though, wasn't it? When you logged on to the network, we need at some point. I know we're all getting on a bit. We need to watch WrestleMania live. Imagine some of this stuff, watching it live in the moment, the pops. And I had a couple of spoilers. It'd be fucking great.
I don't know. It would go on so long.
Oh, that's true. Well, in that case...
Oh, God, I thought you meant, fly out to America.
No, I mean, I'm down for that. I mean, it would cost... I'd have to sell the house, but... maybe one day one of us will get rich.
You don't need a house anyway.
I would never be awake for that long.
When the sweet, sweet Kofi money starts rolling in, we'll book the tickets. Fucking WrestleMania out there. bastards. They've gone to Ring of Honor. They've gone to so many shows while they're out there.
Oh, that Ring of Honor show is meant to be amazing as well.
The podcasts have been great though. So well done, WrestleMe.
Yeah. We're not WrestleMe though, are we? We're kind of like the plucky undercard.
Yeah, who started way before them. But no, that's cool. I know. Honestly, I love that pod. It is great. Okay, so that's it. Best of the rest, worst of the rest, done. It's now time to pick our star performer. And once again, I have not thought of anyone beforehand. Has anybody?
Yeah, Wee Man.
Wee Man, outrageous.
Yeah.
You got one, John?
Actually, it's Stone Cold again.
Brett, I think I know mine. But what are you going to say, Brett?
Oh, well, I was going to say Wee Man for that power slam.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to go for Pat fucking McAfee.
Good choice.
Cool.
Great show.
Deserves it.
But we all agree, kind of as a majority, Wee Man is the performer of WrestleMania 38.
No.
He got 50% of the votes, so yeah. We can't argue with that, John.
We've done it, Brett.
Overall rank, we're going to give it a score out of 10, work out the average, see how it compares to previous years. And then if Sam's really good at maths, add the average for tonight to yesterday and then see how that compares to previous years as well. Oh, the panic in his face. So, a score out of 10 for WrestleMania 2022/38, Night 2/Sunday. Brett Jones.
6.
Ooh. Spicy.
John.
This is hard because it contains
Very.
one of my all-time favourite segments, I think.
Yeah.
But the rest of the card wasn't that great. I'm going to go 7.5.
Okay. Sam, are you ready with your score?
Yeah, I think it was a 6.5.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go for a 7. Yesterday,
cool.
when I finished it, I wrote down 8 again. But that's the same
Oh.
score I gave the night before. And yeah, there was a lot of dross on here.
I was thinking about it.
Night 1 was much better.
Night 1 was better, you're right. That's why
It was.
yeah.
It was.
And so, with that, overall score of 6.75. Interestingly enough, identical to our Night 2 of WrestleMania 36. That was the 2020 one with no crowd whatsoever.
Yeah.
Which also got a 6.75.
With the Boneyard match?
With
Was
the
that Night
Boneyard
2?
match. I think Night 2 might have been the Bray Wyatt John Cena one. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
love
it was.
that.
Yeah, it was.
The one that Brett hated.
I love that.
However, overall, this WrestleMania sits perfectly between WrestleMania 36 and 37 at a 7.45 overall. Just for context, WrestleMania 36 in 2020 got a 7.3 and WrestleMania last year got a 7.6. So, yeah.
Okay.
Medium.
I wish we hadn't scored any other WrestleManias before that, had we?
Yeah, we did 2019 and gave it a straight 7.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, I mean, going into this WrestleMania, I probably wasn't expecting a joint
absolutely
score
not.
over 7.
I thought this was going to be a car crash.
And actually, like we say, in terms of moments, which is what we always hark back to, or at least what WWE want us to hark back to, there were some fucking unforgettable moments.
Yeah, they really were. That they're
so,
going to be
yeah.
shoved down our throat for the next 5 to 10 years.
Again and again and again. But we'll forget them all anyway. We need that.
Yeah,
need
we do.
reminding.
We really do.
Okay, let's have a little break and come back and wrap it all up.
Back of the neck of Charlotte into the hardest part of the ring, courtesy of Carmella.
Give it to Carmella, wisely using the ring to her advantage.
All right, no listener comments. We sort of asked for them a bit too late, but everyone's just going to agree exactly with us. Next podcast. Is it going to be a quiz, John?
Yes.
2 weeks.
I've got 2. I've written 2 questions so far. I think it might be a little controversial, so brace yourselves.
Right. Well, if
Okay.
you just leave it as 2 questions, then it definitely will be. Cool. All right. Well, got that to look forward to. What is it? The spring quiz, right? Yeah. I can't remember what we've done. Anyway, there's always loads of admin involved, and we'll get you right back up to date when we get to that episode, which is episode 176. Sam pointed out earlier, we're on the road to episode 200. No idea what we'll do for that, but the rate we're going, that's like months away anyway, so
That's
we're all
probably
good.
next year, to be fair.
Yeah. Brett, you are back, so you can resume your role. We shared it on the last episode, which was quite fun, actually. But how do people get in touch?
People can send their emails to hardestpartofthering@gmail.com. They can catch us on Instagram or Twitter. We are at hardestpartpod. Or you can buy us a virtual coffee at ko-fi.com/HPOTR.
What better week to do it? We've watched 7 hours of wrestling. We've done 2 podcasts. We're about to hang up the call, and that's not it. We're going to start editing. Brett's going to sit down and do the artwork. A lot of hard work goes into this every time we do it. So ko-fi.com/HPOTR would be lovely. No pressure. That was our review of WrestleMania 2022 Night 2 Sunday. Thanks for listening. Goodbye from me, Adam. Goodbye, Sam.
See you later.
Goodbye, John.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Brett.
Bye.
That was the hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest